Well, hey everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Core Stories. As you can see from the title previously, it's all about auditions. Each episode's gonna have a little bit of a different topic to talk about. We have a treat for you in this episode. We have Paul Downing, Andrew Tomaska, and myself. We're gonna all share our experience about auditioning for the cadets, where we all ended up in the end, and possibly some other places too along the way before we ended up where we belong. So hopefully you find something useful in the information we present, and don't get discouraged in this whole entire season of auditioning. And if you've already marched drum corps somewhere and you'd like to submit a video to possibly be considered for the next episode, episode 2 is going to be all about winter camps, your experiences after you've gotten past the initial audition, and any funny stories or great stories you have there. So feel free to leave a comment. There's also a link in the description about where you can submit those videos to. And I guess I'll also have a date that's due on the screen somewhere. Anyways, keeping this short, hope you enjoy, and here's Paul Downing.
Hi everyone, my name is Paul Downing. I marched with the Spartans in 2012 and the Cadets in 2013 and 14, and I was in the pits all 3 years. And my audition experience, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, was stressful both times, but for different reasons. When I auditioned at Spartans, I really had no idea what I was doing. I sort of threw myself into the deep end because my friends told me to. And then with Cadets, I had sort of figured out what was going on, but the stress was still there because I wanted to be with this group so badly. And I remember both weekends, I was in a constant state of trying to keep up, trying to get my head afloat, trying to learn as much as I could, and it was a lot to handle, both times. And I think the major reason I stayed in and went to more camps, besides, pride, I wanted to do this, was the fact that I connected so well with everyone at both groups. Fellow auditioners, vets, instructors, both corps were full of people that I clicked with almost instantly. I enjoyed working with them, I enjoyed being around them, and it just felt right. So I guess that's my advice to anyone auditioning for the first time. Connect with the people around you at the camp. Because, let's be honest, yes, you have to be a talented player, you have to be in good physical shape, you need the drive and commitment, so on. But none of those things really matter if you're miserable because of the people around you. So when you go, make sure you can see yourself as part of the group you're auditioning for. Those connections will be worth it. So a bit of background. I joined Spartans in February 2012, way late into the season. And around this time, I was auditioning for the music minor at UMass Amherst. And before this, I had no idea how formats worked, how to hold them, how to play them. I'd only really been working on it for a month when I got in contact with Spartans. I had heard there were Vive spots open, and I thought that would be a good way for me to work on my music skills on a spot that would challenge me, but not necessarily break me. Now, the pit tech that year knew me because he was an alumnus of UMass. And for reasons that I still don't know today, he thought that it would be a good idea to put me on the brand new marimba spot and didn't tell me. So I got to that first camp fully expecting to be playing vibes, and he handed me the marimba part. And I remember being confused, like, this is for marimba. And he was like, yeah. And I just remember standing there staring at the paper like, what have I done? I guess it worked out fine since I was at Cadets a year later, so sure. And finally, I do want to offer one last bit of advice for anyone auditioning for the first time. Stick with it. That may sound weird, but I can't tell you how many kids I've seen get overwhelmed at their first 3 days, like 3 days, and never go back. I'll let you in on a secret. Every person at every corps is overwhelmed to some degree their first weekend. It's not indicative of the whole experience. So come back for just one more camp. If it's still not for you, then feel free to pursue other avenues. But if you find that this might be your thing, then congrats on having the best summer of your life. So I'll end it there. Thanks for listening to me and everyone else ramble. And if you are someone who's still auditioning somewhere for a spot, then I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully I will see you on the road this summer. Okay, see ya.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I marched cadets in 2011, 12, and 14. When I went to go audition, it was actually my second audition camp. The week before, I auditioned at Phantom Regiment, and I got a call back, but I wasn't really thrilled on how they did things over there. So I was coming in not sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure about the cadets either. I was super nervous, and I honestly just used the audition material from Phantom Regiment to audition for cadets. And at first I thought I really did awful on the audition. So Gino comes out, he was the caption head at the time. He comes out and he offers people to re-audition if they thought we could do better. So I raised my hand. I was like, I think I could do better than what I did before. And he just goes, what's your name? I say my name. He's like, oh, you're fine. So like, that was the biggest like relief I ever experienced at the cadets. So yeah, that's my audition story.
So my audition story, as you know, I ended up at the cadets, but that's not originally where I started. I'm from Southern Virginia, so automatically I went to the corps that was closest to where I'm from. No names to be mentioned, but that's where I went first. I was pumped. I brought a friend with me, kind of suckered him into going with me to audition. I was ready. I've been, preparing for weeks and had already sent in a video audition, and I was ready to like do it in person now, and been doing smart music and all that jazz. But when I got there, the family aspect that I had from my high school marching band experience just was nowhere to be found. No vet talked to me, except some people in the drum line. No one in the brass line that was a vet talked to me. They had us separated into two groups, like the people that would totally have a shot at making it and those that pretty much don't. And that was kind of depressing for those that weren't in the top group. Didn't really have a great opportunity to learn as much, I thought. I really didn't like the environment. I went into audition and I was already over the weekend and knew even if this went really well that I wasn't gonna stay. So I guess it was best that it didn't go well anyways, because I didn't want to stay. The friend that I took with me ended up making it, and that was interesting. He ended up marching that season in 2013 with that particular corps. More on that in a later episode. You can hear about how his summer went. So my band director, I went back to school, and he was like, so how was the weekend? Did you enjoy it? And I was like, no, it was terrible. I think I'm just gonna be a fan for the rest of my life. That's legitimately what I told myself. And he had marched cadets in 91 and 92, and I was kind of voluntold that I was going to a cadets camp to try it out, see if they had any spots. So I kept emailing this guy named Gino Cipriani, and not knowing a thing really about the cadets. Oddly enough, cadets was actually the last place I had thought about auditioning. I was like, yeah, cadets really are on my list. They step up with the right foot. Like, I never thought I'd end up there. But I went to that camp it was in January, actually. It was very late because that was the first year I think cadets did the whole no camps between January and April. So I went in, there were 2 spots left. I remember the night before I didn't want to go. I was like, please don't make me get on the plane. I don't feel ready, because they handed me all the show music, and I was like, ah. The BPM for Medea was not correct. It said like, oh gosh, what did it say? Like half note or dotted quarter or something. It said half note equaled like 182, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. It was an error. So I was freaking out trying to play Medea twice as fast, and long story short, I was overwhelmed before I even stepped in the door, but I prepared my butt off that week, even if it was just like me hitting my head up against a wall, but I was gonna give it everything, even though I didn't want to go at the last minute, just because I was nervous and didn't think this was possible. I went and had a pretty good audition on the stuff I prepared from the other corps. I did this really goofy, this is a memory I'll forever remember. I was in the room with Gino, and I finished the excerpt, and I go, I just kind of bring my horn down afterwards, like, I kind of did that, yeah. And he was like, you even got the horns down and everything, and it was terrible. It wasn't even close, I think. But he did poke fun at my name. That's what I remember from the initial audition. And from there, I went away from the camp. They kind of gave me, I was fresh out of, like, I was still in high school. I was about to graduate, and, you know, they said, can you move in? Can this be a thing? Like, we want to make sure school isn't going to be an issue, and that's something we have to consider, considering you're in high school, and, you know, more thoughts. So, you know, I didn't get a contract or anything right away, or call, you know, there was only one more camp before spring training. It was months away, so I kept doing tape assignments. I was still in the group. Steve Bentley, he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. He said, you're at the top of my list, my dude, and stuff like that. And we would, you know, he was texting me, and he was in charge of the mellophones at the time. And it was, I remember getting a call about a month later in February saying, hey, I'd like to offer you, and this was Steve calling, I'd like to offer you the 15th out of 16 mellophone spots for the Cadets 2013, and I about lost it. And it was an incredible feeling, knowing that everything I'd gone through, the corps that I dreamed about being in when I was in high school said no and wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and then there's this militaristic type corps that you think is having no fun, but is really just a bunch of people getting together, a bunch of like what I felt were misfits. We were all different backgrounds, everything was different, but we all came together and made this amazing music and supported each other and had a great time and great, you know, fun at the camps, and people talked to me and wanted to get to know me, and that's what, I mean, really kind of helped me as the weekend went on. Everyone at their first audition camp, I'm sure Paul has already said this, is overwhelmed, even before, and even some vets. I remember going back years, camps later, and like I was overwhelmed with everything they're asking us to do, because it's so much content in such a small amount of time. Tour is not as like, I wouldn't say stressful on your body, it's not as much information in a short amount of time. You got a little bit of time to digest. It's not as like, So my tips for those of you that are auditioning, or maybe you have auditioned or things didn't go the way you wanted, is just find a place where you fit, where it feels like home, because without that family atmosphere, there's no reason to stay around. Like, you could win a world championship, but in the end it doesn't matter if it's with people you hate. The things I remember most is not like, oh my gosh, we won the Jim Ott. Okay, that was kind of cool, but we won the Jim Ott. We were blah blah blah, first place San Antonio, or we were third place, got this medal, oh look at this medal. You know, it wasn't about any of that. It was all the memories of all the people I was around. It's kind of the reason I started the whole Rocky Point series in the first place. The whole reason I'm doing this series now is because I want people to stay connected and have memories and succeed at this activity. So any way we can help and share those stories with each other, because those are the most memorable parts. And that's why Corps Stories exists. That's why I kind of did this whole Rocky Point vlog thing when I was in the cadets. And I hope you found something useful in this episode. So I believe I'm the last one in this episode to share their story. There will be many more stories to come, and hopefully not from just me. So if you want to submit yours, again, link in the description. Episode 2 is all about winter camps. So I guess until next time, we'll catch you guys later. And good luck auditioning.